All right, ready?
All right, welcome back, everyone. We were experiencing some audio technical issues with our equipment here, but we are back again. This is October 28th. This is our 9 a.m. board briefing. We have moved from our conference room to our hearing room. So we're just right across the way for any folks that are coming down to see us in person. It is 9:43. We're going to move to Under Sheriff Kevin Ritchie, who is next on our agenda.
This one.
Good morning. Is it? Oh, there it goes. Good morning. So I have a quick item for you. I'm sure you're all aware of the WASPIC Behavioral Health Grant that funds our co-responsive programs. The board has funded some of our deputies with opioid dollars, and this is just the subaward agreement for accepting the contract with Frontier Behavioral Health to provide to clinicians who respond with our deputies to those crisis calls. So this is just they've been doing it since July. Actually, they've been doing it for the last 5-6 years, but the contract's been in the works because WASPIC was having trouble with their contracts, and so it was finally executed by us or by Frontier Behavioral Health, and now it's just on the board for acceptance.
Any questions for Under Sheriff Ritchie?
Is it a 1-year contract?
It's a 2-year contract, and the total is $630,000, and it'll cover 3 clinicians who ride in the car, and then some partial coverage of the director and some program administrators and a supervisor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, awesome, thank you.
All right, that'll bring us to Doug Chase, our Parks, Recreation, and Golf Director.
You guys both put the mic for easier.
Sure.
Good morning, Commissioners. With me today is Julia Cope, our landscape architect, senior project manager, and we are here to update you on the formalizing a change order for our Plants Ferry and Camas Meadow projects. I think this is more specific to Plants Ferry, but I'll let Julia take it away.
No.
Thanks, Doug. Morning, Commissioners. Just some eye candy here, pictures of the projects, but here to formalize the funds that were agreed through the MOU for the DARPA contract. So this is amendment number 2 to incorporate the $970,000 from the state Karmash grant, and then the additional $1 million for Plants Ferry into a portion of that into the contract for DARPA. So that would bring their contract total up to $12.8 million. And then I think next slide, we have a picture of the progress out at Plants Ferry. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank
We're
you.
good. Thank you. Excuse me. I have seen Plants Ferry in person. It does
Yes.
look that good in person too. It's awesome.
Those are not AI.
They are.
That is pretty amazing.
And
And
the commissioners love the fact that she referred to Camas Meadow as eye candy. Thank you.
yes, there you go. We're pretty excited to be reaching completion of the projects, and I was hoping to take 30 seconds. I was contacted by the city of Spokane Valley on a planning related matter. They're updating their comprehensive plan, and they've had a lot of input where they're looking specifically at the Fair and Expo campus, and I think around that, at looking at doing like possibly a stadium district or other multi-use. Currently, the Fair and Expo grounds are zoned industrial, which is a little bit more limiting. For example, if we looked at a sports complex or something like that, it wouldn't fit within that zoning. So they reached out and asked for an email, a simple email that would relay we're supportive of the valley looking at an expanded use type concept for that area, for our properties that we have out there. that may, again, begins with a comprehensive plan and may lead then down the road to changes in zoning. And they've asked for an email, and so I know that's kind of at a high level what they have. I don't know if you'd like me to bring more information back, if you have thoughts or concerns with me providing an email. Aaron Gertel and I have visited, and we don't see a downside to the fairgrounds and expanding the uses that are allowed and in that area that could potentially really complement the Fair and Expo grounds and pull more visitors, complement activities. But again, they're anxious to hear back. So I thought I would just take a little bit to check in and see, feel the temperature on that and whether you're comfortable or have thoughts or concerns that I can bring more back to.
I would think maybe asking Scott Chesney just to make sure moving to that type of zoning, it may open up other avenues to do things, but does it limit other things that would no longer be available under a zoning, moving from an industrial to a, you know, whatever, what'd you say it was, entertainment?
Well, they've had different concepts such as a stadium district is
Okay.
one term that I've heard that's come out of one of their tourism studies out there, but ultimately their goal, as they've described, would be to see adjustments in zoning that would provide for a greater variety of uses, whether that's hotels, restaurants, so forth, where the industrial right now as it sits is a little more restrictive
Okay.
from that standpoint. So that is my understanding per the conversations that we've had.
I'm okay with exploring it. I would just want us to make sure to see what are the outright permitted uses in that zoning versus the industrial, and you know, are we gaining some but losing other permitted uses at the same time, kind of just comparing those, but no objections
And
based on what I've heard today.
one thing, just to remind the commissioners, this is City Spokane Valley zoning. So I'm sure Scott can interpret kind of what their underlying uses of it are. So I think it'd be good to connect with him and have him weigh in on what a letter of support might look like. But I think on the surface of it, it sounds like it's predominantly impacting the parcels around the Fair and Expo. To the south, I believe their zoning is some type of a commercial zoning, and I don't know what kind of uses are allowed in there, but as Doug mentioned, it's all industrial around the immediate proximity and including the Fair and Expo. So could be some good opportunities. But yeah, I think Doug connecting with Scott and just seeing what maybe we need to consider in terms of the letter of support.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right, next up, Joe Hollenbeck, Chief Deputy Assessor.
Hello, board. Mike. So, sure. Okay, here we go. Thanks for allowing me to present here this morning. I think this started for us, actually at a presentation we made, on your behalf, Al, in 2023, and it's a very sensitive issue, as we all know, PFAS out in that West Plains area, and I says, we gotta get ahead of this in some fashion about how we communicate and whether we're viewed as transparent in the process of assessed values relative to that issue. So we felt very strongly that we needed to get in front of it. So I had reached out to the IAAO, which is our assessment arm. It's an international assessing office. And I thrown this concept out to her, and I said, I'm looking at who your past recipients are, and am I wasting my time by addressing this issue and reporting on it? And she goes, no, I think it's interesting. You should just go for it. And so I did. I presented the paper and created a bunch of work for myself. Is effectively what I did. But anyway, it's been good in the sense of trying to get ahead of these things, and I think that we're always judged on whether they view us getting ahead of it or dealing with it and passing judgments if they're perceived as not handling those issues. So I think it's been positive in that sense. So if you want to, if that's going to be on there, I do have the presentation here. If that's if you put that up there or not. I'm used to having copies for everyone because usually my presentations go sideways somewhere. So I do have copies for everyone if they need that. So if you want to go to the next slide there. We started with basically the premise of what we deal with on administratively, what we have to deal with, and that's trying to assess a property market value, whether it's inside of that PFAS area or not. So we deal with a couple different things and just trying to get ahead of this. One of the caveats here we tried to get ahead of it on was the appeal process. I really believe that we were gonna get hit pretty hard on an appeal basis of people thinking that we're not addressing these things. So I think on that basis, I have to report there were only one appeal filed out of the 800, and that was withdrawn. So we did not make any adjustments relative to this issue. And I think transparency is a big part of it. In Washington State, we have the Model Toxic Acts that probably assist in that area. And then we have a Form 17 where disclosure is necessary. Real estate markets don't do very, very well when there's not full transparency. And that's assisted, I think, in getting that out. And then with how the county has addressed this on getting ahead of it and filtration systems. So there's some issues out there that I think are assisting in the real estate market and stabilizing it. So we have not made any adjustments relative to this. So next slide. This was the award letter when when we sent this out. So this is creating more work for myself. So effectively when I got this. The next slide, Ron, this is why I paused and I said, am I just wasting my time? Those are the past recipients of this. It has generally gone to academia, not to assessors' offices. But she said, you know, this issue is way bigger than Spokane. And I'll show you that in a second. So she goes, you should just put the grant in, even as small as it is, because it resonates across the entire United States. It's not just here in Spokane that's dealing with this issue. So go ahead and go to the next slide. That is the two sampling areas that we deal with. One is in the Air Force study area and one is a priority sampling area. So we've isolated all these parcels, worked with the EPA, got some well test results, and then relative to the sales data, we've done these studies. So that's both in both areas that we've done that. Next slide. There were about 6,000 parcels overall in these two study areas. We got it down to about 688 in the priority sampling area and about 370 in the Air Force sampling area. And then we studied that against trends in the market. We did have well test results from the priority sampling area. The Air Force Base has not shared well test results for us. So it's a little bit of a challenge for us. Go ahead and next slide. You can kind of see where this problem is way bigger than just Spokane. So there's over 300 Air Force bases where firefighting foam has been used in the United States. So it's a bigger issue than just Spokane that it has to deal with this. You can kind of see by that map there. Next slide. This is how we intend to make the deliveries to the public on this. One is we have made presentations to the West Plains Water Coalition, Palisades, some other users groups in that area, and we'll continue to do so. We may also consider the social media route at some point and we'll additional mailers, trying to keep them abreast of what's kind of going on. Next slide. What does this mean in the future for us? So we'll continue to study these trends into 2026. I'll do a second report at the end of this year. And then as a part of this grant, then I'll travel to Calgary to present in front of their convention and then do a paper for maybe publication. So those are just some of the issues that we have dealt with in this. I think it'll be good in the sense of perceiving by the public that we're trying to deal with it as best we can. So that is all I have. I think the next slide. Any questions?
Any questions for Joe?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Lindsay Chapman, Solid Waste Administrator.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Kyle's gonna kick it off.
Yeah, I'll hand it right off to Lindsay here in a second. We previewed this a little bit yesterday, talking about our transfer stations. This is our north transfer station up in Colbert. The tamper being a critical component of this facility, and reminder that these are aged facilities and we have some capital replacement needs now that we've taken over and really understand the operational impacts. So I'll hand it off to Lindsay.
Morning, commissioners. So as you can see in this picture, that big yellow dirty built right machine we affectionately call our tamper. And at the North Transfer Station, it's our smaller transfer station. The tipping floor where you dump your garbage is about half the size of a valley. So the tamper is our heartbeat of the North Transfer Station. It's the only piece of equipment that we use to basically push down the garbage into semi-truck containers, and then we send it off. So it is our means of effectively and efficiently loading garbage into containers. This one was installed in March of 2018, so we're pushing 7.5 years of life. This piece of equipment is used 360 days a year, 7 to 8 hours every day. It compacts about 60,000 tons of garbage a year, 10,000 tons of clean green a year or yard debris. If this machine goes down, we launch into contingency operations. So we have to bring a backhoe in, which takes up more space on the floor. It makes one less loading bay available for customers. We load garbage less efficiently. It's not as dense into containers. So it truly is the heartbeat. We don't like to rely on operations without it. Next slide. So currently, this is a good top view from one of our tipping floor cameras. You can see the space underneath is where our semi-truck containers load, and this is what we call an open top container. So a front end loader will push the garbage into those spaces, and then the tamper will basically rearrange or compact garbage into that. This current one, the auto loop system, is non-operational at this point. In 2023, we welded 2 hairline fractures that we found on the boom after one morning inspection. The pins on the boom are worn, and that causes increasing vibrations. And as the vibrations get bigger, it just means more rattling, more wear on the other components. And then this summer, we had an AC system failure. So as you can imagine, this is a hot place to be, kind of smelly, kind of dusty. So when an operator has to sit in that small compartment and there's no AC, it is hot and miserable. So we ended up jimmy rigging a window AC unit to put in there so that way our operators could still have some cold air. Lastly, the rotation gear near the base is pretty worn, and we had Dave Smith from Central Shop come out and take a look at that. And basically when that fails, we don't have the ability to rotate that tamper. So then we would be stuck in one position, essentially rendering that piece of equipment moot. We won't be able to use it. So what the process is right now, we can do next slide, is we've worked closely with Central Shop to correctly specify what we need for a new tamper. And we've also worked with purchasing to create a solicitation. That bid opened on October 20th and is set to close on November 3rd. Ideally, because garbage and yard waste is seasonal, we are entering our slow season, which is good for this piece of equipment. But we really need to have this piece of equipment installed before March, which is when our yard debris season ramps up again. This is budgeted out of Fund 435. We got an early quote this summer from one of the companies, Grizzly. And this piece of equipment usually runs about $350,000 plus installation plus taxes is probably going to run us about $400,000. So that is currently budgeted within Fund 435. We're prepared to expend those funds this year, but it may trickle into next year depending on the installation schedule. That's it. Next, I think that's my last slide. So just a briefing at this point. We do need to move forward quickly though. So when that bid closes, we'll have a very quick recommendation. Any questions?
No objections to you moving forward, but you said the current one was from 2018.
Mhm.
I mean, is 7 years the typical life of one of these? That just doesn't sound very long to me.
It's not very long, but it's used constantly. So Kyle made a great point yesterday with our loaders. It's kind of the same story with our loaders. In roads, a loader can last 25, 30 years because it's not used that often, but we use them hours every day of the year. And garbage is a dirty, dangerous, pokey industry. There's the wear on tear on our heavy equipment is big.
So going forward, so in another 7 years, roughly, do you think you'll have to probably replace the new one too? Like that just, is that typical?
Yeah, that's what we're budgeting for in our
Okay.
asset replacement schedule. If
Okay.
we can do a better job with preventative maintenance, now that we have some in-county staff who are paying more attention, and more close attention, maybe we can eke out another year or two, but right now we've budgeted for another camper in 8 years.
Okay. Mr. French?
So the process now is that, folks bring their waste to the transfer stations, you pack it into the containers, then take it to the waste energy plant, unload, and then it's incinerated, and then the ash, I assume, goes to the landfill over in Adams County, or are we shipping the ash somewhere else?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Very close. So right now, about half of our garbage is going to the waste to energy facility and about half of it is going to the Adams County landfill. The city of Spokane, who owns and operates the waste to energy facility, they had a contract change a couple years ago. So all of their ash now goes to Finley Buttes landfill, which is right near Arlington, Oregon, Boardman.
Commissioner Kearns, I just wanted to follow up on your previous question. So, when you think about hours on a machine, that's usually the lifespan, not years. So if you think about, how quickly we could put 12,000 hours on that tamper running 7 days a week, and if that thing's running 8 to 10 hours a day, that's how, you rack up hours super quickly. And so, we could hit 15,000 hours in like 5 years, working that kind of stress on the machines. So that's why we have that aggressive asset replacement schedule. And obviously, 1 year in our asset replacement, if we can get from 7 years to 8, is huge, because now we're stretching those dollars out, and it's a big investment every single time we have.
Mr. French?
Yeah, I had a follow-up question. The containers that you use to take waste from the transfer station to the waste energy, would they be the same containers that you would use to do long haul to Adams County? Or is it a different container that you use to do the longer haul to Adams County?
They can be the same ones. Currently at the North Transfer Station, we use a potbelly container, which has an extra, couple tons of space at the bottom. Those can't be emptied at the waste to energy, but containers that we use at our Valley Transfer Station for the compactor, those are the same containers that we use to transport to Adams County as well as waste to energy.
If we were to convert, and I think we have the right to do this, if we were to convert to a total long haul and bypass the waste energy plant, do we have enough vehicles to be able to handle that transition, or would that require the acquisition of some additional containers and or vehicles to do that haul with?
We have to talk with our transportation provider. Right now, all the trucks and containers are provided through Dietrich Trucking, who transports all of our waste to waste to energy as well as Adams County.
Thank you.
I just have one follow-up request, commissioners. We are a little behind the gun here from a timing standpoint. We were trying to go through a state contract, which proved unsuccessful, so we had to go out for a public bid on this. So we wanted to make sure you had a touch on this before bringing it before you in the legislative session. Would you like a second touch before we bring the ledge item forward, naming the vendor? Or should we go straight to the legislative action item as soon as we have bids in the qualified bidder?
Well, from my standpoint, I just say go straight to the legislative action. It's not as though we're going to second guess you. and, or go out into the market for a second bid. So, no, I just say go legislative action.
Thank you.
Yep, I agree.
Any other questions?
Thanks for the thorough presentation.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Ben Bradabo, Water Programs Administrator.
Good morning, commissioners. Today, I'm talking to you about updating code for the aquifer protection area. And this is very much an administrative action. It's the code envisioned collecting fees through this year, and with the successful renewal and expansion of the aquifer protection area into 2046. The code needs to be revised to update that to allow us to continue to collect fees. There's no changes in the process or the fees that will remain the same. It's really just an administrative piece to envision collection for additional 20 years. And so this will requires a public hearing for code changes. And so that would be proposed to be public hearing on December 2nd. So we'll come to you with a legislative item requesting to set that public hearing date and then have that hearing in December. That's it. If there's any questions, I can answer those.
Any questions for Ben? Kept it pretty concise to one slide here, so. I think we're good. Thank you. All right, next up, we have Matt Zerkle. County Engineer, let's see, limited access requests.
Good morning, commissioners. So today we have 3 limited access proposals in front of you. The first one is up north in the Dartford area, Comalini Road. This road's currently a dead end road. You can see the red center line there, Commissioner French. And the blue parcels outlined are the petitioners requesting it. So you can see all of the parcels fronting on the road are requesting this limited access. And essentially what it'll allow them to do is gate the roadway. They had a lot of nuisance issues on this section of road. The primary petitioner, Robert Seghetti, has been asking for this, and we support the motion. It will remove the maintenance need on our end, and it is a dead end road, just really serving one resident. So happy to answer any questions, but this one feels pretty straightforward. There's no public benefit to it. Frankly, almost a vacation type access would have been good too, but for now, limited access would be great. Happy to answer any questions.
Sure.
So this means the county no longer has to maintain.
Yeah, once they gate it, we don't maintain it anymore.
So in theory, if that changed in the future, then we would maintain again. But
Yeah.
it's technically still a public right of way.
Correct, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yeah, they would have to come back and remove the limited access status, and we would have to make that recommendation back to the board for that removal.
What if there was something major, like a washout, the road got washed out, same situation, or would that fall to us?
We haven't had that situation come up. It's still a public roadway in a public right of way. We would probably be part of the conversation because it's not vacated, it's just limited access, so it's still a public roadway, and day-to-day maintenance is different than being able to travel on the roadway in my mind.
Okay. But you support this?
Yeah, absolutely. There's one residence on it. It's essentially, it would be really nice not to be maintaining it. And next slide. This is up, you can see on the vicinity map on the left, this is up along the Spokane River. The blue parcels outlined again are the petitioners. They're all common ownership. It's Emerald Dreams LLC. And they're a farming operation. They have requested this. Again, a lot of nuisance issues. There is no public access down to the water, but they're getting a lot of people going down to the water through their private property. There is an Avista day use area. You can see the little green square there, and they're proposing to gate it just past that access point. So people will continue to be able to go to the Avista day use site and go through the parcel on the left there and to the north and the west of the parking area. I believe it's all public land, state land, and so they should be able to continue to get to the water through that avenue, but not through the private property as they've been doing currently. Again, we support this. We're working with them on an adequate turnaround, and beyond that, we support gating the access. Again, it's just a dead end road, sir, and I don't believe there are any houses on this section of roadway. And there are also reported nuisance issues from our maintenance district on that. Any dead end road like that, we tend to get garbage collecting and people parking and things going on that become another challenge for us. So we support this limited access. Thank you. Next slide, we have one more. You can see this is down almost to Cheney. You can see on the corner of the aerial there, the highway, that's SR 904. And this is the gentleman just to the north of the red portion that's proposed for limited access. He's requesting it. To the south is a 1 foot strip, something we've used historically for access control to right of ways. And essentially what happened is he's built a road in and out of the public right of way just to access his own property. But the downside for him has become the church property to the west has been using it to travel back and forth. And again, there's no need for the public access. They all have other routes out to the highway that's quicker and more efficient anyway. But he's just hoping to have that nuisance issue removed. And again, the driveway doesn't even stay in our right of way. It comes in and out. So they're traveling across his private property, but then into the right of way. And he just would like to gate it and control that access. And he's proposing to gate both ends so people don't get stuck in there. And there's no maintenance challenge for us. You can see to the east, there's a road that we do maintain. And we can just turn the corner and keep going. We don't maintain this currently. Happy to answer any questions. All right, we will move forward to the public hearing, please.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, Aaron Stromberger, Pretrial Services Manager.
Good morning, commissioners. For having me, I do have a few more slides than that, so I apologize in advance.
Microphone.
You push the button there.
Oh, that's. Thank you for having me this morning. I was asked to come bring a update on the capstone grant from the MacArthur Foundation that is underway in our office at Pretrial Services. Again, my name is Aaron Stromberger. The biggest portion of this capstone grant that we're working on is the supported release program. I'm sure you're familiar with this. I won't go through the whole back history of it, but supported release is a program in district court. It's a voluntary program that's designed to ensure that individuals who do not pose a public safety risk can be released back into the community and receive supportive services that will help them be successful during the pendency of their case. In 2024, the MacArthur Foundation awarded money to Spokane County to restart this program. Operations shifted from Pioneer Human Services over to our department. And we relaunched the program with District Court on March 3rd of this year. Slide. Some of the basic program eligibility outlines is that any defendant facing a charge in district court is eligible for the program, and they're primarily in custody. We do get some folks put on the program who are already out of custody, but just need some help with services and getting back to court. And this is a new eligibility item, that there are no disqualifying charges. Previously, that was an obstacle for this program. Now, technically, any charge is eligible for the program, but it's obviously up to the court to deem if they're a worthy candidate of the program, or an appropriate candidate, I should say. The individual can be referred by the court or the council. Previously, this had to come from the public defender to make that recommendation. The court is now weighing in on this and identifying individuals who are appropriate for the supported release program. That's been a huge blessing for the program. Our numbers have benefited from it greatly. Cases are typically in pretrial stage, but we do have some folks who are in the probation side of things that we're assisting, but the lion's share are in the pretrial stage of their criminal case. And defendants with holds and pending charges in other courts, for instance, like Department of Corrections hold or an out of county hold, can still participate in the program. We can work through those challenges. That was previously an obstacle for the program as well. So a number of issues that were kind of holding the program back before have now been cleared, and our numbers are showing that. show some data here on the, no, this is a lot of order here. Nope, we're good. So kind of the procedurally how this works is that we get to the first appearance hearing in the afternoon in district court. The court identifies an appropriate candidate for this program and releases an individual to the supported release program. They are then given 7 days to come report to our office and complete an intake appointment. During that intake appointment, they meet with our supported release team and identify what areas they need assistance with, what resources they're lacking, how can we help them get back to court, how can we help them be successful during the pretrial stage of their case. And it's at this point, after we've explained the program to them, offered them services, where this is where the voluntary portion kicks in. They can either enroll in the program and continue to work with us, or they are free to decline the supported release program and just continue with their case out of custody. Assuming that they do enroll with us, then we develop a supported release plan, outline how often they're going to check in with us, and just how best we can help them be successful during their case. And so out of that, we set up case management meetings with the individual, a regular check-in schedule. We follow up on the referrals that we've made with them to see if they've successfully followed through with those and made any progress with those. Employment, housing, and we'll get into that a little bit, things of that nature. And then just this ongoing reminder system that we're reminding them about their appointments out in the community, reminding them about their upcoming court dates, the things that they need to make and not miss in order to be successful in the supported release program. Next slide. And so what we're seeing, the data we've been tracking out of the first appearance docket in district court, that second line there, the release to supported release, started out a little slow in March, but the numbers just keep increasing. All the way up to September, we had 67 in custody releases to supported release. October, we've already seen 41 this month. I even checked this morning, that number is up to about 53. I suspect we'll hit the 60s easily this month for supported release. The number of people being held on bond has been decreasing, which is good to see. Little blip up there in September, but that number has been decreasing. So our caseloads are growing. They're really expanding. The district court's really leaning into this program. The judges are really buying in. Kudos to Judge Johnson, who's doing great with that program with us. We're even seeing some releases to the program from other dockets. So as I was alluding to earlier, people who are already out of custody but look like they need a little help coming back to court and engaging. Court's putting some folks out in the program there as well, 29 additional people. So that's kind of the breakdown of what we're seeing happen at that in custody first appearance docket Monday through Friday in district court, and just the numbers that are being placed into our program for supported release. So kind of a snapshot of our enrollment right now. And this is a little bit dated, but we have 95 individuals who are actually open cases enrolled, engaged in the program. There's 13 people we're still trying to track down in that 7-day period. And then further down, kind of a breakdown of case closures. We've had 47 people successfully adjudicate their case. And then get into kind of the other closure regions. There have been 34 people who have come in. We've given them the outline of the program and they've declined services. And then there are 96 people who just never decided to report after being released. So if you break down the numbers there, it is about 42% of people released to the program who are not engaging and who are declining the program, but about 58% who are enrolling and going with us in the program. And I will say, just anecdotally, when we started this program, that's higher than we expected. We didn't really know what to expect, but with a voluntary program, I think we assumed the numbers were going to be skewed more in the decline side, but we are seeing a majority of people actually engage in the program and enroll and take advantage of the services that we're trying to help them with. So it's kind of a snapshot of that. And then just kind of roll through, what are we doing for case management? What are we doing to help these individuals get through court? So I talked earlier about the intake and needs assessment. We're identifying areas, housing, employment, education, things that they need help with on a daily basis. We're providing those referrals to services in the community, and we're following up to see if they're making progress on those referrals. We're constantly making court date reminder calls. We're helping people enroll in text reminders. And if they do happen to miss a court date, we're helping them with the bench warrant recall process to avoid rearrest and to get them back on the court docket and avoid that costly warrant process that we know about. Establishing and maintaining an appropriate level of contact, how often they want to check in with us, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever is most helpful for them. And this is the big one, we're offering that we can attend court dates with participants. We're finding that's the most popular one. We're attending these court dates with folks, helping them understand the process, kind of ease the anxiety and those obstacles of sometimes, you know, the fear factor of coming back to court and the fear of being rearrested, which may or may not be, which may be unfounded fear. We're helping work through that. We're providing concrete services like bus passes, some snack bags, basic hygiene items, cold weather items. That's going to be popular pretty soon. And then we're on the backside, we're conducting monthly criminal history checks just to monitor compliance with their regular court ordered conditions. So,
Quick question.
yes, go ahead.
Service referrals, what are the top referrals? And this is one staff member doing all this, correct?
There's two.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a full-time grant funded position working caseload management, and then we have our management, and we have our in-house clinician, Kat Wise, who's a mental health professional. She's helping work with that too. And on the next slide, I have some stats there as to what sort of referrals we're seeing. So the biggest one is court support. A lot of people just want us to sit with them in court and, you know, keep them calm and walk them through the process and link them up with their attorney, who's their attorney. They may not even know them. So we're trying to kind of do that bridge. Housing's a big one, employment, mental health and substance abuse treatment. Those are obviously the biggest ones there. And then there's quite a drop off, benefits, food stamps, that kind of thing, transportation, really not much food and clothing or medical, dental, but those are the data that we've collected. And as you can see, it's primarily people just want help figuring out the court system.
So quick question, what do the actual referrals to housing and employment and mental health look like? Is that just identifying a provider, or is it a piece of paper that says referral, or help me understand what that actually looks like in practice? We've
collected, and our clinician has been doing this for decades, so she knows, she's well versed in all the resources that are out there. She's staying up to date on what's still open and what's closed recently. And so she's keeping a database of that open, providing them a number of options, you know, depending on their background or the eligibility for certain resources, who's eligible where. So there's no, I would say, any formal form, but we have a guide that we work through to see where would be the best placement for these folks. We're putting that on a support plan, so when they walk out of our office, they know who they need to talk to, phone number, contact person, and then we'll follow up. Hey, did you talk to SNAP? Did you talk to reentry, housing reentry? And just making those phone calls and follow up with them. So not a technical form, but just a process.
They have some kind of written plan.
They do.
That this is documented.
Yep.
So they can look back and be reminded of what the plan was.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. And I'd like to take credit for that, but I'm sure I swiped it from some other program. So, but that's been helpful for our individuals to leave with when they do their intake appointment. They know all the places they've been referred to and how to get a hold of them. Yeah. Okay, so what we're seeing as far as who's coming back to court, are they staying arrest free? And so this data is just for the people who have enrolled in our program. So what we're seeing is the people who are actively involved in our program, and we're giving them court date reminders. They're coming to court really well. Obviously, our program's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over the months, but we're still seeing, into the 90s in most months, an average of 92% appearance rate. So of those 373 total hearings, 342 of those hearings have been made. I just talked with our clinician. She said she had 12 people in court yesterday. All 12 of them made it, and she met with all of them and just continuing that interaction with them. So good for the program there. And then as far as the safety rate, whether that's being arrested on a new charge and booked into the jail or just being cited out into the field, that number has been really low as well. 97% citation or arrest-free rate is what we're averaging. So we're doing good there as well. Our folks who are back out in the community are generally not committing new crimes. So that's positive. And then I won't read all these, but just some program feedback you can read up here. I look at the second one there. We had an individual said, I've been in systems in other states and have never had this much support navigating the court system. I'm extremely grateful. And then I know this individual was given employment referrals, and we confirmed that he's now working full-time. So it was a really good success story. People really appreciate us just being involved with their court dates, going to court with them, and just really keeping them calm through the process. So we've got some good feedback from our participants. So that's the first part of our capstone grant. There was a second position that was created to try and track FTA warrants and really help avoid the warrant problem. Specifically in district court, we targeted, let me back up a little bit. We hired the FTA tracker position in June of 2025 to begin working on this project. We looked at the district court out of custody arraignment docket. These are people who weren't arrested but were given a citation to come back for court for their arraignment. And so those arraignments are on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And there was a pretty high FTA rate there. We've been collaborating with district court to try and obtain the most current contact information for these defendants. We also have a lot of information in our own databases. We're checking Facebook. We're really going everywhere we can to try and find contact information to make these court date reminders for this docket. We purchased a cell phone to be able to send text reminders and communicate more efficiently with folks. I think people are more inclined to read a text than a random phone number they don't recognize, so we've been trying that route. And this is still pretty new. We're still trying to evaluate the best practices and strategies to try and locate these defendants and improve appearance rates. And as the numbers will show here on the next slide, that's been a little more difficult than we had thought. Not as successful. The next slide, please. Is there no? Yeah. We kind of tracked things before our FTA tracker was hired, just to see what sort of
Just one
numbers.
more. Yeah, Mr. Credit.
Yeah.
So, number of years ago, to try and address the FTAs, we purchased Uptrust.
Yes.
Are we still using that?
Yes, the public defender's office is using that.
Okay, and is it still an effective tool or?
I believe so, yeah. It feeds directly with some of our programs, pretrial services. Contact information goes to the public defender, and then that's being tested out. That's still in use. It's been going pretty well from our perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So before our FTA tracker started, on this docket, the appearance rate was about 51%. So the FTA rate is pretty high, 46%. We started making court date calls between July 11th and August 18th. There's a little discrepancy. We noticed kind of a training issue on our side. We weren't capturing the data as accurately as we had hoped, so that it appeared that the failed to appear rate was lowering. There were some discrepancies on how district court was continuing cases versus issuing FTA warrants. We got that figured out. We restarted in September 1st, and up till last week, October 17th, we had a discussion with the court team to go ahead and keep making these court reminder calls to try and make a dent in the warrant problem. But at this point, despite our best efforts, we're still seeing about that same appearance rate and failure appearance rate. So still looking at good strategies, better strategies to try and make a dent in this problem. I think the problem is one of the biggest challenges, I would say, is that we're really reliant on the information that individuals are giving to law enforcement or to the courts as being their most recent contact information. Not always reliable. So that's what we're running up against, but we're still working on this part of the capstone grant, still early, but these are the initial numbers that we're seeing on this end. Any questions on this? Commissioner Jordan?
The universe that you're tracking here is all out of custody, district court arraignment dockets only.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the docket we targeted first as having one of the highest FTA rates, so we went right in for that one.
So the Uptrust notifications, so those go to all defendants, period, regardless of.
District court also has a reminder system too, so that comes out of their court. So there's also Uptrust, so there's kind of like this dual system going on. So as long as the phone number is entered in there, they should be getting text reminders. But again, as long as that number is accurate, which can be a challenge.
And correct me if I'm wrong, with Uptrust, you have to opt in to receive those text reminders.
I believe that's
Correct.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so just because you go through court doesn't mean you have to say, yes, please sign me up for Uptrust. So.
Correct.
Which I remember we're back on the SRLJC, we had sort of the discussion, is it Uptrust that's getting the people to show up? Or is it the people that are responsible enough to sign up for Uptrust would have shown up for their court date anyway, you know, sort of, so. And nobody knows, so.
Difficult question, but yeah, well stated, yeah. And then I'm sorry.
Another follow-up on
Yeah.
that. So potentially someone's getting if they did sign up for Uptrust, they're getting a text message from their public defender. They're maybe getting a text message from the court and one from you.
That would be, the best case scenario that they're getting 3 reminders, or the worst case, depending if you're annoyed by it, but
But but the problem is if the phone number isn't correct, no, you're getting 0 texts.
exactly, as far as that goes. But like it indicated, we were also trying Facebook. We also have phone numbers in our own pretrial from our interviews. Historically, we've got a lot of sources to try and find phone numbers, but the success rate isn't showing up as far as being able to reach them. So it's a difficult, it's a challenge, put it that way. We're still working.
Yeah.
And then the third phase of this capstone grant is the courthouse navigator. You've probably seen the desk down there on the first floor of the courthouse. We've been working on this a while. This idea was born out of actually Buncombe County, North Carolina, over in Asheville. They run a very similar program. They actually have the same literal desk, so we bought the same one they did. We are located down there by the main security checkpoint on the first floor of the courthouse. We're staffed Monday through Friday there during peak court hours. Our courthouse navigator is answering a lot of questions down there, but she's also providing wayfinding assistance. So she's actually walking people from that desk over to the annex or over to the public safety building or up to the public defender's office, kind of these trickier to reach or trickier to find places on the courthouse campus. She's also providing bus passes for people who need to get back home from court dates. Kind of some of the similar resources we have in our office, like snack bags and hygiene items and cold weather items. A lot of brochures are available down there at the help desk, and a lot of similar referrals to community resources that we have in our office as well. This position is funded through the end of 2026, and I have some good numbers on the next slide. So our navigator has already assisted over 1,000 people, 1,036. She's provided wayfinding assistance, again, meaning she's walked them directly to where they need to go on about a third of her customers. So making some good assistance there. Highest location assisted is the clerk's office on the 3rd floor of the courthouse. A lot of Superior Court courtrooms to include like the ex parte courtroom up on the 2nd floor. We're walking a lot of people over to the public safety building who thought they needed to be in the courthouse, but actually needed to be in municipal court or district court. That's kind of a common one. Things you can probably imagine people get confused about. That's what she's helping with down there on the 1st floor. This time of year, directing a lot of people over to the treasurer's office to make their property tax payments or kind of year round, vehicle licensing. I think that licensing is included in that auditor treasurer number, I believe. So pretty broad spectrum of places, but mostly court related assistance and getting a lot of customers right down there on the 1st floor of the courthouse and hopefully alleviating a lot of unnecessary traffic that's been going to other departments that should have been sent elsewhere, trying to kind of head that off, free up resources in those departments and wasted time. So that's the third aspect of the capstone grant. These are all the work that we're doing here at Pretrial Services, and it is a lot of work. I really appreciate my team and the time that they've spent trying to make these programs successful. So any questions as to the scope of all these?
We have one online. Mike Sparber.
Good morning. I'm sorry I couldn't be there this morning. I'm at the Safe and Healthy Task Force meeting, but I just can't say enough about Aaron and his team for really leaning in to these concepts that we kind of had a collaborative effort of coming together for that capstone grant. It seemed to be, materializing in most of the areas that we wanted it to. I would have liked to seen a little more results in the failure to appears, but it's a work in progress. And I think Aaron's certainly willing to help brainstorm some ideas to try to move forward on that. And I just can't say enough about their team. I think it's going really well. So keep up the good work, Aaron.
Thanks, Mike.
Guys, what was the dollar amount for the grant again? I didn't see that in the document.
Mike has that in front of him.
Are you waiting on me?
I didn't know if you had that.
Whoever has the answer,
540,000, I believe.
540, okay. Commissioner Walter.
The courthouse navigator, you know, I know we had put some money aside for potentially putting some screens up at the entrances to each of our court buildings that potentially could be helping people and maybe even having translation, right? You know, translation of different directions and information in different languages.
Yeah.
That might be a really great fit with that navigator. The navigator could help people access the screen and then choose a different language if they needed a different language. And when entering one of our, you know, the district court area, the superior court area. Or just trying to access the clerk's office or to, you know, file paperwork. But anyway, I was just wondering what the latest on, I don't know, Scott, you know, we had put that money aside. What's the latest on those screens we had talked about installing?
Great question. I don't have an
well,
update.
I'd throw it.
Ashley May.
Cause I just think it would be really helpful because this navigator, like a human, you know, who's talking with people, they may encounter some people with different language
Yeah.
barriers and having that screen. Cause that could then people could access to maybe.
That would be helpful. Superior Court's lent us, they have a little pocket translator, for pretty real time. Only so many languages though, but it's been a little bit helpful, but that would be even better.
I was just thinking that would really go well together. Some people may need help just using the screen, you know,
Yeah.
just to know that it's theirs. That was just a thought.
Ashley, do you have something to add to this?
Yeah, so we had initially started down the road with this project, but my team just does not have the capacity with Workday to tackle this. I don't have enough staff. So if one of your admins would love to jump in and help with this project, I'd love to hand it off. I just don't have capacity on our team. We did put funds aside, but with all things Workday HR going live here at the end of the year and being our sole focus, not sole, but our primary focus, I just haven't had the capacity to dig into this. IT is aware of it and is willing to help where they can, but they're kind of in the same place right now. So if we were to have someone who was able to spearhead it, maybe one of your guys' admins, if they have the capacity, that would be wonderful. But that's where we're at right now with the screens themselves.
Mike Sparber, you have something else to add to this as well?
Well, I didn't see Ashley out in the audience, but she just said exactly what we had initial conversations with Ashley and her team and Jeff McMorris. And I think it just boiled down to a focus on the Workday program. So, but we'd be happy to revisit that at some point if you'd like to, Commissioner.
Commissioner Jordan.
Have we talked with facilities about whether they might have somebody to help too?
Yeah, it's not so much the TV, it's the all work behind it. So facilities could get a TV put together, so could IT, but somebody has to have the time and capacity to go through and figure out what program we're gonna use. Do we have to go through an RFP or can we connect to a group we're already like a Zoom or the website we use, GovQA. So it's not just the putting it in, it's that part's actually the easy part. It's the project itself of figuring out the software and how it would all work out.
Well, I know there was, when we discussed this probably over a year ago, I think one of the big questions was what was the extent of the need? I know there was a community organization that came in and said, you know, they pretended to be a person that didn't speak English to try to navigate, but to my understanding, there wasn't any actual instances of an individual who truly did not, you know, was not proficient in English that could not find where they were trying to get on our campus. So I guess that was one of the other questions, what actually was the real need for these? Because they're not free and they're not cheap.
Yeah, so we did put a work group together and I presented this, I think at the beginning of this year. But there was a group of us that was actually tracking the requests through offices. So the courts were part of this, the prosecutor's office, public defender, and we tracked it for, I want to say off the top of my head, it was a 3-month period of time. And over that period of time, we actually did not have any requests for someone who was not capable or did not have someone with them who could help translate. That said, it would be I'm sure utilized by some people, if we had it available, but we didn't have any situations where a department had to turn anyone away, or we weren't able to work with them when they came forward, into the various departments. I think much to Aaron's credit, having someone at the front is very helpful. Most of our obstacles tended to be getting people to the right building and the right location. Language definitely still can sometimes be difficult, but we do have a lot of pieces in place through our court systems where when they need that assistance, they are available for their court cases. But the actual, like someone showing up in the treasurer's office or the assessor's office, we did not have any instances while we were tracking for those 3 months.
Well, any other questions for Aaron? Commissioner Jordan?
Just going back to some of the data on the appearance rates. So I think I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together. Is it correct that generally the out of custody district court FTA rate that was being tracked was like 40-something%? Is that what your slide showed?
For the FTA tracker.
Yeah.
Trying to, 46%, yeah,
And
kind of before and after.
earlier, you showed the appearance rate for supported release participants was like 90+.
Yep.
So is it fair to say that the participants of supported release are much more likely to show up for court than the general court population?
I would say yes, that's what the numbers are suggesting. They're staying involved in the process. They're coming to their court dates. You know, hopefully that's because of the work I'd like to attribute it to the work that we're doing, of course, but yes, the people in the program are appearing at a much higher clip than those who aren't.
And it can do, if we have time, can we go back to the participation slide? I just want to make sure I was following your math on, I think you said the 58% or something.
Oh, yeah.
Were at some level participating. Can you restate that so I can
It's the enrollment snapshot. It was
follow that?
a breakdown of our current enrollment snapshot. So I was looking at the the reason for the case closure, those who declined the program, 34. You add that with those who never reported to our office, never began the program. Those numbers together make up about 42% of those who have been released to the program so far.
Okay.
So 42% or roughly 4 in 10 are not taking advantage of the program or just declining it and saying no thanks. But more are actually engaging in.
To Commissioner Jordan's, but so where would lost contact fall? I assume that means they were halfway through and lost contact, or is that they've adjudicated their case, they're out, and then you've lost contact?
Nope. It would be those who initially started the program with us, were checking in for a while and then stopped. We lost contact with them. So at some point we do kind of close their file, but that was only 16 of the 310 so far.
So they participated at some level.
Yes.
So you're counting them as a participation.
Yes.
They didn't say no from the very beginning.
Right. And they
Okay.
didn't just ghost us from the get-go.
Okay.
So
And 95 are currently on board.
95, are out of custody and have enrolled in the program. At the time of this snapshot here, there were 13 who are still in that initial enrollment 7-day period that we're working on contacting. And then in some instances, people, were released to the program, but are held on, for instance, like a superior court bond, so they can't get out yet. So that'd be those 7 that are in custody on other cases.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These numbers are definitely an improvement from when the program was first rolled out. What do you attribute that to? Because originally it was
most definitely
nobody was taking up district court on it.
Completely. And I attribute that to 2 things. And this was no fault of Pioneer or anything, just the way that the program was set up. Domestic violence charges were disqualified from the program and DUI charges were disqualified. And if you look at the first appearance docket, that's a bulk of the district court first appearance in custody docket Monday through Friday. That's the lion's share of that docket. So that would have immediately been eliminated from the program from the get-go previously. District court this time around said, let's just open it up to everybody, and it's the judge's call whether or not that individual is appropriate for the program. What we've seen, I don't have it on a slide, but I broke down the numbers. At one point, the assault or domestic violence or DUI cases are making up about 57% of our supported release program. So it's a big chunk of the program right now that would have never made it in before. The other thing is that, as I said previously, the public defender had to be the one who made the referral to the program. The court wouldn't weigh in on that or at least make that recommendation. Now they are. Now the bench can identify a candidate and release them to the program directly.
When some of it could be your guys's stellar work.
I would like to say
doing
so,
it
yes.
in-house.
Yeah.
There were a lot of naysayers that said it couldn't be done in-house, but that just wouldn't work, so congratulations
I
on
appreciate it.
proving all those people wrong.
Well, thank you. We have a great staff who are doing all the hard work, so I kudos to them.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, George Dahl, come on down.
And I'm gonna have Brittany brief this one for us.
Okay, Brittany, take it away.
Hello, Commissioner. Good morning. I'm bringing to you a short-term contract with SNAP to spend down some remaining home electrification and appliance rebate program funds. So that's the HERE program. If you remember back in 2024, we got that award from Commerce at roughly 1.7 million, and we subcontracted those funds to SNAP for local administration. And they spent down their roughly just under 1.6 million. Just about down to 5,000, but we have a remaining 88,000 of admin funds on our end that we will not be able to spend down prior to the end of this contract. So the purpose of the contract I'm bringing to you today is to re-contract with SNAP so that they can get those admin funds. We're just repurposing those to get them out into our community and spend those down, just so we don't lose them and don't have to send them back to Commerce, and so we can get some more help out to the community. So if you have any questions, the contract's roughly 93,000, but it's just really short term, about 3 months, just to kind of get those out, and then we'll kind of wrap up that contract with SNAP and.
Any questions, concerns from anyone?
Great, thank you.
That's great, thank you. All right, that brings us to Jeff McMorris.
Tessa's gonna give you all a handout. I'm gonna take the second one first. We have a timeline. Oh, we actually got it. Come on, good for us. Obviously wasn't me. So just over the next couple of weeks to give you an idea of what we are doing with budget, and also to just prep you for upcoming notices of public hearings that you'll be seeing. Next week is roundtable number 3 at 2 o'clock. Next week, you'll also see 2 notices of public hearing for the 17th. And on the 17th will be the property tax levy hearing. That's also the day that we look for the BOCC to make final decisions on any of those 1% road shift bank capacity decisions. We're also looking on November 10th, hopefully to get most of the final budget decisions made. That will allow us to post it publicly by the 17th and then have that 2-week notice before the final vote on the 1st. Anything I'm missing on that one, Tessa?
No, just to be clear. I think that's on.
No,
This one's.
Thanks to Mr. Macio and Gina for doing most of the work behind all the public hearing issuances. And then we also had a request to go over a little bit earlier this year, the property tax options. You'll probably recognize these from Randy and team's slide in previous years. This will be part of next week's public hearing, but wanted to just give you guys a little bit of extra time to see them. So this one is the general levy. We'll have that switched by next week. We shouldn't call it general fund because there are a couple little pieces. Think like the DD, the veterans. There's a couple small pieces that are not general fund that'll be carved out. The first box, the white box, this is based on a $425,000 home. The first box should be if you do nothing, the average $425,000 home will pay just shy of $300 a year. Of course, it can vary a bit depending on the exact location of the home. Option 2 would be the 1% increase with no road shift. So that'd be 25 cents a month, just shy of $3 a year. Option 3, the 1% with all bank capacity. So it's an additional 14 cents. It's inclusive of the 25 cents in the column. And then the furthest one over would also include the road shift, which would impact the average homeowner just shy of $36 a year. That is for the general levy. The next slide will show the same, sorry.
Those and the dollar impacts, as we talked about before, just to clarify, those are total dollar impact in an annual basis, not like a per $1,000 of assessed value.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, so
thank you.
anywhere from a quarter to just shy of $3 a month. Correct, and the annual rate below. Same thing on the next slide, which is for the conservation futures, which you'll see the 1% is 1 penny a month, 11 cents a year. If you took bank capacity, if you want to make it sound horribly, you can say it doubles, but it doubles at 2 cents at 22 cents. Yes, sir.
So, on your previous slide for the general fund, current impact to the taxpayers, 2492, that's the proposed for 2026.
That would be do nothing. 2492 is the current rate. So if the board doesn't do any increases, that would be the rate that rolls forward.
Okay, so what I'm trying to get to is in 2025, they paid X. In 2026, they're gonna pay Y, the 2492. What are they paying today? And what I'm trying to get to, you already got.
We're gonna get to that on the last slide.
We do have that sheet.
It's at the end of the packet for you guys, so if you read ahead,
Well, then
we'll get there in a moment.
Because the quote Tessa, Commissioner French is gonna ask about this, you want to include it.
I'm very patiently and thanks.
So the conservation futures you see there, we will take that road levy shift piece off of the slide. That was just a first draft miss. And we would have fixed it today, but Jason is out today and we only have PDFs.
Sorry, what were you just saying?
Oh, where it says road levy shift on the side, ignore that, it'll be gone next week. And if you go to the third slide, it's the same thing for county roads. It shows you the white box is current 25, if you roll it forward to 26. If you did the 1% with no bank capacity, it would be an additional 31 cents a month or $3.71 annually, bringing in roughly $300,000 more dollars to the county. If you take the road shift, that does, if you take all the road shift, that does take the bank capacity with it. So you think about different options and what you can do. You can't take the road shift and the bank capacity, it'd be all inclusive if you took the road shift. The road shift is also an up to amount, so you don't have to take the full 7.5, give or take, you can choose any part thereof. And Tessa, I'll let you go through the last sheet.
Yeah, the last sheet has comparative values for the prior year being 2025's levies. And so that is approximately $25.11 for our kind of median assessed value property in 2025. That does go down slightly. There's a lot of rounding in some of these numbers. We have numbers into the billions for the assessed value. New construction estimates change annually. There's the 1%, and then things like state assessed and a few other things kind of factor into all of these numbers. But this page does compare that for the general levy, the median property value of $425,000 paid approximately $25.11 towards the general levy this year. Next year, with no options being taken, no 1%, no road shift, that would decrease a little to $24.92. If the 1% was taken, it would be $25.17 a month. 1% plus all banked capacity, $25.31 a month, or 1% in the full road shift, $27.90 a month for that same property. And then we have the same examples for conservation futures and the county road. We do on this sheet include all road options for you to view. We only have advertised
on the previous slide for county roads, two options. Option one of being nothing and option two of a 1% with no banked capacity. But you can see all the calculations on this sheet.
Yeah, and and thank you. Great sheet. You're right, I would have asked. And the point is that, one of the reasons why we are committed to economic development and growing our tax base is that, that additional, assessed valuation helps offset the taxes that would otherwise be paid by our residents. And so, you know, when you look at, you know, if we didn't do anything and status quo, you actually get a reduction in 26 for your taxes because we've added over $1 billion of new assessed valuation to the tax rolls. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, the public is aware of why we invest so much in growing the tax base. Thank you.
Yeah, we're actually, I think at 1.4 billion added this year. So it does make a difference. We're happy to take questions over the course of the week. We'll have this next week again also.
So just so I understand, so if you did the 1% property tax, and then you also do the county road 1%, that's what adds together for the county road tax per month at the bottom, like 3176.
If the parcel was in the county road unincorporated area, correct? They would pay both amounts.
So it adds another like $6 per month if you did both of those options. The 1% property tax and the 1% county roads.
To those parcels.
Yep, right, so that's okay, so that's inclusive of both of those increases.
Which slide are you on?
The last one, I'm just trying to understand, did you add in? When you go down to the county road section?
No, that parcel would pay $31 for that specific levy, as well as $24 or $25 for the general levy.
Okay.
The levies are layered on top of each other.
So you'd be paying on three.
So it's like $3 and another $3.
Correct.
Okay, you added it together there. You didn't break it out. I can go to the other slides to see the breakout. Got it, okay.
Yeah, so the average homeowner this year is right at 300 for the general levy, another 11 for the conservation, and then an additional 377 for the road. So you're looking at getting close to $700, just shy 680.
But to Mr. French's point, like looking at 2025. If there was a 1% property tax increase. The average parcel owner would pay an extra 6 cents per month from 2025. From what they're paying today. Right? If you,
Road levy?
On the
6 cents.
general levy, correct?
Right, and
Per
then like a, whatever, 70 cents. Per year.
Correct, on that particular piece, if you did the 1%.
I mean, I think it's good to look at
With no
what it
road
would be if
changes.
you didn't do anything in 26, but it would be, it's also good to look at, well, what were they paying in 20, what was the average?
Yes,
Correct. Parcel paying in 2025. Okay,
But, you know, to take that, you know, if you look down at the county road, if you took the 1%, didn't do the road shift, just took the 1%, you're actually gonna pay less in 26 than you're gonna pay in
Yeah.
25.
less per,
So,
yeah, per month and per year, yeah. Interesting, okay,
and
that's how much,
that's because of growth.
yeah.
And that's why, yeah.
Just to make things a little more complicated, just clarifying, road shift takes the banked capacity from the road levy and allows it to be spread out and applied on the general fund levy. And therefore, those who don't usually pay county road levy would then be paying slightly disproportionately higher than others? Is there a way to display that would be helpful? Given that generally those in the incorporated areas don't pay the county road levy, right? Does that question make any sense?
The question makes sense. I'm contemplating how we can.
Yeah.
I thought you had that broken out before on your, like, either last year or the previous year, you had broken out an incorporated versus unincorporated in the.
Yes, we do typically, display two different parcel types. We'll review if we've incorporated that into our presentation for next week.
I know some of the slides next week have both. I will make sure we have that included.
And can I ask for clarification? There was stated earlier that the amount you pay goes down with the 1% would only happen if your assessed value stays the same or goes down. If your assessed value on your home happens to go up, which I think we all know regularly happens, then that would not hold true, correct?
That is correct. That is
Okay.
one other function of the math is that, as the parcel's assessed value changes, these rates would fluctuate.
Yeah.
And yes, parcels very rarely stay the same year over year.
Or go down.
Sometimes, so to come back to, I think where Commissioner Jordan was going, if you do the road shift then applies the general fund tax to all the taxpayers in the county, where the road levy only applies to the unincorporated area. The counter to that is that because of the Growth Management Act, gross sales that originate in the county unincorporated area, but are spent inside the city, also generate a benefit to the city that unincorporated area does not enjoy. So the only way to fix that is to build a wall. And we don't have.
And make the city pay for it.
And make the city pay for it, exactly, so.
Good luck.
But
How would you all get to meetings? Come into my beautiful district.
We need a passport.
I'm glad you're able to come into my district for these meetings.
Yeah, so, I mean, because the state law and stuff, I mean, it is, there is a disparity between the city incorporated and unincorporated area, and even though the legislature said, oh, yeah, no, we see that, but we'll fix that, they never have, and it's 26 years now, and I'm still waiting. So, anyway. But that's the other counterpart to your argument.
One thing we've seen in the past proposals or presentations is kind of showing the historical decisions that have been made. I like seeing that just to kind
We
of.
do have a 10-15 year slide that will show each year a road shift was put in, each year the 1% was taken. Jason's done a really nice job with that.
Thank you.
This was the Sanford version.
Yeah.
Commissioner, quick observation or insights. One of the things that we do on this last sheet here is I believe the countywide median assessed value comes from our treasurer's office, if I'm not mistaken. We can go verify if the 425 is still a valid number. Likely that will have changed between 2025 and 2026. So that would give more of a representative what the estimated impacts are going to be. And then because the road shift would, if it was taken, it would affect every citizen's and businesses county general mill rate levy. So they would right now it's 2511 for this year. If the road, and that's across every resident in the county.
The 70 cents.
The 2511 in the prior year column under county general.
That's for that specific parcel. Yes, if you go up to the levy rate per $1,000, up a little bit, it's 70 cents.
Yep.
That is the rate per $1,000 of assessed value that
Yep.
each parcel would pay.
The county general goes across to every
every
parcel.
parcel.
So by going over to the far column for the 1% increase and the full road levy, every citizen, every parcel essentially would be then paying $27.90 if that option was taken. So I don't know if that helps to answer the question earlier. Maybe I didn't track it.
I don't think. I think you'd have to look, I assumed that number up to the full right was just unincorporated properties.
Nope, that's every parcel.
That'd be all parcels, because the road shift includes all
Yeah.
parcels.
Oh,
If you
the
choose.
road- the road-
But
levy.
there'd be a different impact to incorporated versus unincorporated, to Commissioner Jordan's point.
No, it'd be the same.
Yeah, the property tax functions that we establish the amount to be collected. And then it is spread even over every $1,000 of assessed value. So that's more, that levy rate of 78 cents in the far right column is more representative of what everyone would pay.
Yeah, on this sheet, the only tax levy that would be assigned to unincorporated is the county road. Everything else is assessed on every parcel in the county, regardless of location.
And to the point you made, Scott, Jason did let us know the average house has actually gone down just a little bit. He had already crunched all the numbers at 425. I didn't feel it was worth him redoing everything, but it has dropped a little bit for the assessor's office.
I think I'll wait and get more information when you break it out for us. I'm still not quite following, but because I thought the impact would be greater to people in incorporated areas because they haven't been paying that road. They haven't seen that increase to the road tax over the years. So maybe I'm just not following.
Well, any action the board takes as it relates to the county general is an action that would impact every parcel. Any action that the commissioners taken, even the road shift, any action the commissioners take on just the county roads only impact the unincorporated areas, the unincorporated parcels.
And I thought the conservation futures also was a countywide tax. It's
Yep.
not just unincorporated.
Right, it's 3%.
Correct.
Yeah.
We will do our best to make it a bit more clear in the presentation on the cities versus unincorporated. You're doing well. Any other questions? It will be a couple.
This is a great chart, so thanks. That's very helpful.
It will be a couple weeks before, I guess we give this presentation next week, and then it's 2 weeks after that for the vote. So we do have a lot of time to answer any questions or gather more information as needed.
Jamal?
I just wanted to say, have you guys put together you were gonna put together an interactive spreadsheet of the different budget items after your last budget presentation so that we could play around with what dollars are left and then where we might put them, because we still have a lot of asks out there, but not enough dollars. So I would like to start playing with that so we can get to decisions faster.
We can send it to you. We've been trying to get on each of your calendars
It was
to
just like,
talk through it, but we can send it to you before that.
is that the request for talking about the capital budget?
We're trying to get them all in at once.
Well, once we get you, I'll hit you with everything.
Foot in the door strategy.
Okay, well, I'd like to, I mean, the sooner you can get that out, because at the last presentation, you had it all broken out.
I'll just send you.
But it was
it's all
hard for
there.
me to do the math on my calculator, so the more that you can have it automatically done in a spreadsheet would be
I'll
awesome.
send that around this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, I've been told we are scratching item L on today, just not quite ready for a presentation, so that'll come forward next week. Okay. So any miscellaneous items? Here, I'll start close, we'll work our way down. Commissioner Waller.
So the Board of Health got notification late last week that the Native Project had appointed someone to the board. And so, and on Friday, I got confirmation yesterday that the Health District let the Indian Health Commission know following the process. And so I asked Mr. Amacio yesterday to put together a by leave item if the board wanted to consider it for today to appoint the elected member. We're also looking at, adopting a new process where there's a 30-day time clock, and that's also on our agenda for this afternoon, but this came in before we took that action. So Mr. Amacio had put together a by leave item that we could put if the board would like to consider it today. I think in our conversation, we had said Commissioner Jordan would be the next commissioner, so.
Yes, we did.
I'm looking over and Mr. French is nodding vigorously. So, so that item we could take by leave if the board chooses to do that, this afternoon.
I don't know, I mean, some people got a little upset last time we did that, so I don't know, as long as no feelings get hurt.
Well, since we've adopted our process and we said the next two people would be commissioners, and we had a conversation in a public meeting that it would be Commissioner Jordan, I'm feeling like we're checking the boxes.
If everybody is okay and no one's gonna get upset, I'd be fine with doing that. Who is the individual from the Native Project? Do we have a name? All I saw that there was someone from the Native Project. I didn't hear a name.
Maureen Rosette.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Happy to
Well,
serve.
do we have time to get that drafted by 2?
Already drafted, ready to
Oh,
go.
okay, all right, then we'll have it ready. We'll queue it up. Commissioner Jordan.
We all got an email from Chief Vinci from Fire District 9, I think today. I just wanted to raise it because it was a request for a letter of support for the naming of the bridge on State Route 395 in memory of the Fire District 9 lieutenant paramedic who had passed away in the line of duty several years ago. So I just wanted to check if we wanted to do that individually, look at that. Otherwise, I can draft something to bring back in next week if we're interested as a group. I think they want to submit that letter to the Washington State Transportation Commission. I think they sent it to the assistants, or at least some. So anyway.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I don't see an email in my inbox, but maybe it's wrong.
Oh, it says yesterday at 9 PM to all of our assistants. So
Okay, yeah.
anyway.
I'm good either way. I think I know the incident, and which bridge, where it happened. I remember when that happened, so I would support that. I mean, we want to do it jointly or individually, either way. So. Okay, yeah, we can do a joint.
Okay.
Looks like we have head nods for a joint letter.
Well, I can have it drafted and bring it for comments.
Sure. Is there a date on the email?
He didn't put it in there, and it looks like they sent a letter back in September. So it doesn't look like it needs to be done right this second unless we hear otherwise.
Okay, maybe queue it up for next week. We can talk about.
Thank you.
Then Scott.
Commissioners, as a follow-up to yesterday when our Public Works team presented the overview of the 6-year CIP, TIP, the request by the board was to bring that forward in a public hearing prior to the board's adoption of the budget and our other CIP. Kind of looked into the public hearing notice requirements. It's a 20-day. Wouldn't be able to be on your agenda until the 4th to set that notice, which would then place it on the 2nd of December. So it's going to align essentially, the 1st of December, it'll align with your budget hearing. But what we'll do is his team's going to go back and provide more detail on the CIP for sewer and the transportation improvement plan for the 6-year. providing the maps that were asked that shows visually where these projects are going to be occurring, which districts are in, and also do kind of a 2-year look back. So you have a little bit of a perspective of what's been done the last couple of years, what type of projects were they, how much dollars were put in, where were the locations, and also look forward to the 6 years. So that'll be, it'll be brief for the board prior to the public hearing, but also it'll review in the public hearing. So I just want to follow up on that.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous items? Pat, anything from the comm shop? Nope. All right, well, I was told we do have one executive session and one closed session this morning, so Scott and Matt, you want to queue us up for those?
We've got one executive session item pending and potential litigation, no action, approximately 10 minutes. Matt Folsom, Scott Simmons, Jeff McMorris, Summer Rife, Josh Grove, Ashton Cloud.
And then following that, we'll have a closed session on labor negotiations.
Okay, all right, well, it is 11:18. We will start with that executive session, and then following that, we'll move into that closed session. And then at the conclusion of that, we will be adjourned for the morning, and we will reconvene this afternoon right back here in our hearing room at 2 p.m. So look forward to seeing everybody then. Thank you.